And hello everybody, my name is the NikoTheLegend, the one-mannered teenager, the snowflake, and the rambling idiot. And boy, we're still riding the Mass Effect milk hype train all the way to release day. That's right, I'm going to take full advantage of this stuff because Mass Effect has never been more relevant in its entirety as a franchise, and BioWare's never been more relevant till this day. Okay, so today we're going to talk about some more additions, some more updates, some more changes happening to the remastered Legendary Edition for Mass Effect. That's right, there's more. I'm here to keep you more up to date. And we're going to deep dive into this article, okay? It's not too long, so bear with me, but we're going to talk all about it on Mass Effect Legendary Edition devs explain rebalanced boss fights. Yes, if you remember any boss fights from the original trilogy that gave you a load of trouble, some pain, some sorrow, some just manufactured difficulty, or just whatever you want to call it, well, you might be in good hands. This might be good for you for people that had trouble and didn't like these certain bosses because maybe you thought they were unfair, or they're just stupid hard, or there's just not enough space to run around, yada, yada, yada. We're going to dive right into that in just a moment. But before we get into that, folks, I am NikoTheLegend, of course, and I always appreciate any support you guys can give me on the channel with subscriptions, follows, comments, yada, 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 shameless plugs here and there. And feel free to join the Discord server because we can talk all about the upcoming greatness. Which I hope it's upcoming greatness. There's some things that people don't like nowadays with the Legendary Edition now that they've seen it in the flesh. But that's neither here or there. Let's talk about the rebalanced boss fights. Alright, I hope you're ready. Now then, so developers behind Mass Effect Legendary Edition outline how some of the trilogy's bosses' fights have been rebalanced to make them more fun and fair. BioWare developers have outlined some of the changes that were applied to the boss fights in Mass Effect Legendary Edition, tweaks and such that should make boss battles feel more fair. How fair? We'll find out. The studio finally showcased the remastered trilogy earlier this month, along with news of a May 2021 release date for consoles and PC. Meme, the baby that memes doing the fist. Anyway, a victory. Players can expect every entry in the trilogy to receive a pretty significant overhaul, though the first Mass Effect is, of course, benefiting from the remastered treatment the most. That's right. Mass Effect 1 is not a remake, so get that out of your head. It is a remastered. I've had some people comment talking about how it's a remake. It is not a remake. Remakes don't look like that. Okay? Trust me, they don't. This is a remastered. So, with that said, for example, Mass Effect's notoriously long elevator sequences have drastically reduced in length. Other bells and whistles like 4K resolution, HDR, and 60 FPS capabilities should also ensure all three titles look better and run smoother than ever before. So there you go, that's remastered, that's not a remake. This isn't a Final Fantasy VII remake type deal. But while quite a few features are being added, BioWare has announced that not everything players remember from the original games will make the cut. Mass Effect 3's multiplayer suite counts among the most notable omission from the upcoming release, which a lot of people who commented on my videos were not very happy about. Which I completely understand. I like the online for Mass Effect 3, but hey, you got Andromeda and then the OG Mass Effect 3, those servers are still alive. In an interview with Game Informer, game director Mac Walters and environment and character director Kevin Meeks spoke about how boss encounters have been improved for Mass Effect Legendary Edition. The developers specifically brought up a fight in Mass Effect 1, and this one you'll understand, where players battled Benezia, Liara Tassoni's mother, in an environment with minimal cover. And my god, there is really no cover at all, pretty much. Just a few boxes. Many may recall the fight being difficult to navigate, especially since Benezia is as much of a powerhouse as her daughter. Yeah, try doing this on Insanity mode. It's stupid. Meek said this particular section serves as an example of BioWare's early uncertainties about whether the RPG would be a cover shooter. Isn't that funny? According to Meek, one of the original level designers helped devise a way to expand the level's pathways, allowing for the insertion of better cover options. Ooh, just maybe add a couple more assets and just, mold. Anyway, he told the publication, with this, you can always guarantee that there is some amount of cover that you can go and hide behind that was actually real. It's the same exact layout, but everything is now double wide with a few added cover points. Sounds like a girl I used to know. Anyway, so the next day, Walters divulged that the crew looked at the more painful boss encounters as well as non-bosses battles that players seem to struggle with the most. Gotta love the statistics on that. In so doing, he explained extra autosave states were added so that, if you at least die, you can come back to it a little bit more quickly. But then we also just did things where a lot of Benezia's powers can't ragdoll you as much with the way that we spawn some of those enemies, but still challenging in its own right. Players need not worry about how these alterations may affect balancing, however. BioWare made sure not to nerf an enemy's abilities, thus those who prefer a challenge are still in for a treat. According to Walters, one question sat at the forefront when rebalancing became the topic of discussion. What do we actually do to make this a more fun fight, a more fair fight for you while you're doing it? That is the question, sir. To be or not to be. The studio's extra effort in improving the overall experience is nothing short of admirable. Changes aren't just happening for the gameplay and texture-based visuals either. Ta-da! BioWare previously stated the camera angles that fixed Miranda Lawson's backside are being altered. You know. For instance, Plus animations are receiving a much-needed update. It seems Mass Effect Legendary Edition couldn't have come at a better time. Late last year, BioWare and publisher EA showcased a teaser trailer of the franchise's next mainline entry. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so that's just, closing statements. So, guys, what do you think? How does this make you feel that the bosses are being tuned, tweaked, rebalanced? I think it's good. A lot of games that, if they re-release these games that maybe have some notoriously buggy sections or kind of just graphical issues in a certain level, or manufacture difficulty for bosses that are just stupid hard. Now, I understand on the hardest difficulties, they're going to be really hard. That's why it's called insanity. Despite, the hardest difficulty can be something just way, way over the top and on super unbalanced, like Halo 2's Jackals when it comes to Legendary Edition. Like, everybody who's played Halo 2's Legendary Edition or Legendary Mode knows that. But rebalanced boss fights is okay. I don't mind that because they stated, hey, we're not going to change everything that this boss is doing. We're just trying to make it a more, I wouldn't say comfortable experience, but a more realistic experience, I'm guessing. Bosses still do what they're out to do. They're out there to kill you. Still have the same abilities, probably the same life and all that. But, it's just like the article states, before they were Mass Effect developers were trying to figure out if this is an RPG or a cover shooter. Now since they have the experience under their belt and 4 games as well, now they know what kind of game Mass Effect is, so they can kind of retroactively do that to make it a more fulfilling experience, which is going to be pretty exciting. And this is going to go obviously hand in hand with the big changes to gameplay and shooting mechanics and just all this other stuff that's going with Mass Effect 1. And like I said, it is not a remake. This is a remastered, although remake is really pushing it. They're getting really close, but it's still a remastered game. It's still going to be the game that we all hope that we fell in love with in the past, back in 2007. But don't quote me on that. But anyway, folks, that's great news. Rebalancing manufactured difficult bosses is always a nice change. Although, I'm hoping the diehard fans, the purists out there, don't get too upset about this, because I understand that you don't want these things to be changed because you beat it, you were able to go through the hoops, the trials and tribulations, and you want it to stay the same. Well, it's not going to be like that for you this time around. You might as well just play the original. But you know what? This is going to be a fun experience to see how much, I should say fun experiment too. Fun experiment and experience to see how much BioWare has really changed or altered or fixed or whatever you want to call it in this Legendary Edition. There's so many unknowns still. And the best way we're going to know is to play it, Pathfinders. To play it, or just wait and look for a before you buy type video. Something like that. So, folks, I have been your host, NikoTheLegend, also known as the well-mannered teenager, the snowflake, and the rambling idiot. And what do you think about these rebalance changes for the bosses? Do you think it's deemed worthy of being altered or rebalanced, or do you like the way it was? Were you okay with it? Did you have any certain moments in the game where it was just driving you up the wazoos with the boss fights? Let me know. I'd like to hear all about it. And like I said, if you like what you saw, feel free to check me out some more on the NikoTheLegend channel. I always appreciate the follows and the likes and the dislikes and the comments, the no comments, whatever. Take care, Pathfinders.